Today me there in a Portland. And you know them say already if rain no fall, it means that you are not welcome. Showers of blessing is coming down right in Portland. Anne-Marie Valls, good day to you. How are you today?
I am happy on this historic day.
Yeah.
And we have been doing so much work that to say this is another historic project is really overwhelming. This bypass will take the pressure off our town. What is happening, the congestion in the town has outgrown itself. So thankfully, along with the Boundbrook Urban Center that is being built, and this bypass, we should have easement in the town, of course.
Thank you so much.
We are overjoyed.
All right. It's going to be the groundbreaking shovel. See the people.
I am here walking billboard, shaping up to make sure that Anne-Marie Valls stay where he are. Nobody not supposed to counteract him. Because you see how he's put and protect? Action do that. It's pretty till you can't pretty them out. Water, light, road, house. Them can't get him out. Never get out. Nowhere in life.
Alright, walking big boy. Big up yourself.
Yes, walking big boy. Take care of yourself. Yeah. Walk safe on the gravel, yeah?
Walking big boy from Eastern Portland.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. This is a special day in Portland today, and I'm encouraged your hearts today in prayer. We also greet the most honorable Prime Minister in the House today. And us this move, we welcome this project in Portland. Long awaiting, we are excited. Amen. Hope for the hopeless. We thank you, Lord. We pray for wisdom, for knowledge, for understanding to impart to our Prime Minister of Jamaica, land we love. And we thank you for divine guidance. And as we break the ground, we declare all curses separate from the ground. We declare shalom upon this ground. Eternal God, may your peace resonate upon this beautiful parish of Portland. In the name of the Father, Yahuwah, and of the Son, Yeshua HaMashiach, and of the blessed Holy Spirit, Amen. The Ruach HaKadosh. Bless this occasion in Yeshua's name. Amen. We say, Amen.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this, the official groundbreaking ceremony for the Port Antonio bypass. It's a wonderful day for Portland, isn't it? Yep. No, man, don't come from Portland. Yeah. Okay, so let me go again. It's a wonderful day for Portland, isn't it? Yeah. All right. I will not be doing the official welcome, so I will leave that one for the mayor. Let me just welcome some of our distinguished guests. Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister and Minister of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Honorable Robert Morgan, Minister without Portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Honorable Darrell Valls, Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport and Member of Parliament for Portland Western. Mrs. Anne-Marie Vaz, Member of Parliament for Portland Eastern. Other Members of Parliament, Mrs. Arlene Williams, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, and other members of the MEGJC team, Mr. E.G. Hunter, Chief Executive Officer of the National Works Agency, and other members of the NWA team, His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Paul Thompson, and other councillors of the Portland Municipal Corporation, as well as the CEO. Representatives Mr. B. Dangram B. from the China Harbor Engineering Company and other development partners, members of the media, and of course, the wonderful people of Portland. Good afternoon. My name is Dani Clark and I'll be taking you through your program today. So, at this time, I'm going to invite our Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Arlene Williams, to bring us remarks, and she will be followed by Mr. Dangram B, Country Manager for China Harbor Engineering Company. Oh, also, special welcome to those who are online on GIS TV. Welcome. We hope that you will have a wonderful viewing. Before we have Mrs. Arlene Williams, however, we have the welcome by our Mayor. His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Paul Thompson. Clap him, you can clap him.
Good afternoon, everyone. In the interest of time, protocols have been already observed, but how could I continue without acknowledging the presence of the most honorable Andrew Holness, ON, CM, MP, Prime Minister of Jamaica. Thanks to all persons who have taken time out of their busy schedule to be present here to witness and celebrate this momentous occasion. It was good to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, it is good to be here. And I know you are expecting great things from this groundbreaking ceremony. I know we're all looking forward to something like this. For over 70 years, I've been looking for this, and it has come to reality now. And I know we are all thankful to the Prime Minister of Jamaica. Okay, so I just want to say, God bless Jamaica, land we love, and we thank you.
But I want to ask you for a few minutes, or a few seconds, just to specifically acknowledge our Prime Minister, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Honorable Robert Morgan, who has the portfolio of works, Minister Daryl Vaz, Mrs. Anne-Marie Vaz, who is Member of Parliament for Eastern Portland, Mayor Paul Thompson. I also want to acknowledge CEO Everton Hunter and his team here from the NWA, and for your spirit-filled and spirit-led prayer, Dr. Bishop Dr. Vincent Powell, Mr. Dangram B from China Harbor Engineering Company, my Bunu staff from the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, many of them are here. Yes. Staff from the Office of the Prime Minister, members of the media, members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, students, ladies and gentlemen, all, a very, very pleasant good afternoon to you. Of a journey that began with the government's vision of a safe, efficient and effective road network through the development of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project, you know it as SHIP, with the aim of improving linkages and facilitating future development along its corridor. This bypass project, utilizing the design and build modality, is divided into 2 phases. The first phase is what we are doing now, which covers 7 kilometers from Norwich to Turtle Harbour, and the second phase will be 11 kilometers from Turtle Harbour to Boston Bay. And this we will undertake in the very near future. These and other agencies under the ministry's purview, both individually and collectively, are positioning Jamaica to be the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business, which is the overarching goal of the Vision 2030 Jamaica National Development Plan. The contractor and vote of these important projects that I would have mentioned is China Harbour Engineering Company, Czech. They have a good track record, Mr. B, in delivering on time and within budget, and we anticipate that the Port Antonio Bypass project will be no different. And so we expect that this project will be completed in a very timely way, and we will have no cost overruns. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, it was my distinct pleasure to bring these brief remarks to you, and I look forward to returning to Port Antonio, God willing, for the official opening of your new bypass. Thank you all, and God bless you.
The Honorable Minister Robert Morgan, the Honorable Minister Tara Watt, MP Madam Emery Watt, members of Parliament, and CEO of NWA, my colleagues, my friends. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As we look to the future, we are excited to be a part of Jamaica's growth, not just Portland, but across the country. Portland is on rise. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, my East Portland family. Put your hands together for Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Michael Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, and his team, led by Minister Morgan, Minister responsible for work. Let me also acknowledge Minister Darrell Vaz, with his numerous portfolios, including transportation. Today is another historic day in Portland. Now, in the past couple of months, there have been 2 other historic happenings in this parish. One, the launch of the construction of the Bound Brook Urban Center, and also the launch of the rural school bus system for our children. And here we are today with the groundbreaking of the Port Antonio bypass. One of the clearest indicators of growth taking place in Jamaica is the growing congestion experienced in some of our town centers. As economies grow, so does the number of vehicles on the road, leading to increased traffic congestion. As a government, we have been criticized regarding the number of opening ceremonies and the amount of ribbon cuttings that we are doing. The question asked is why? The answer is simple. We are doing more. We have to do more, because when others had the chance and opportunity to do it, it wasn't done. The Port Antonio bypass is long overdue. The South Coast Highway Improvement Project has welcomed a new era in eastern Jamaica, and the Port Antonio bypass is an extension of this. the economic activity, investment, development, and opportunities that will be created as a result of this project will have a meaningful impact on the lives of my East Portland family. As you have heard, the bypass will take place in 2 stages. Phase 1, Norwich to Turtle Crawl, and Phase 2, Turtle Crawl to Boston Bay. And as you heard as well, it is estimated to cost $81 million or 13 billion Jamaican dollars. My East Portland family, this is what this government is investing in our town to make our quality of life better. This is an investment for all of us. This is how this Member of Parliament and this government invest public resources. You will hear further about this project as the program goes on. But, and I can assure the Prime Minister, knowledge of this will reach every nook and cranny of Portland. Not only East Portland, but the entire Portland. I want to speak about one of Newton's 3 laws of motion. This is not the type of laws that we pass in Parliament. There are different types of laws. The law I think best describe the word this administration and this Member of Parliament is the first law of motion. The law says an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion. This is evident in the pace and frequency that this government is working at. The government is in motion, and it is, and whether it is the urban center, Morant Bay Urban Center, the Bosco Bell Business and Urban Center, our own Boundbrook Urban Center, or this Port Antonio bypass, it is a continuation of a government in motion. The others have been at rest for a while, but this government remains active and strong. This government remains in motion. Whether it is the Spark, the Reach, Urban Center, the launch of the Solidarity Program yesterday, work on our schools, community centers, our bridges, and as I mentioned, the historic rural school bus system, and now this multi-billion-dollar bypass being done in the town of Port Antonio to relieve congestion and bring development and investment, all speaks to a government in motion. Because this is what this government has been doing literally and figuratively, removing the congestion and bureaucracy across government and projects. We are accelerating and continuing the motion, and that is why we are cutting ribbons at a faster pace in more parishes than ever before. It is not a coincidence, it is deliberate. I welcome you all to my parish on this historic occasion and can state proudly, not only do I look forward to driving on the bypass and to going into the town without having to take 15 minutes to go from here to the end of the room. And I'm also looking forward to the day, 24 months from now, and I've set my timer for us to be here for the opening of this Port Antonio bypass. I want to thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, Minister of Works, Chair, the technical teams here, the Parish Council, and all of you here today who have come to participate in this historic day. And as the Prime Minister said the other day, a hoof is stop with. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
ladies and gentlemen, and to the residents here in East Portland. I see you're a very exciting audience. Thank you very much for coming out. I want to acknowledge the Most Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. the Most Honorable Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Honorable Darrell Vaz, Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport, as well as the Honorable P.S. Arlene Williams, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Our wonderful Anne-Marie Vaz, your beloved, hard-working Member of Parliament. I see the head of the National Works Agency, Mr. Everton Hunter, is here, as well as the head of China Harbour Engineering, Mr. B. Other distinguished guests, invitees, members of the Municipal Corporation and clergy, thank you very much for being here at this historic occasion. Phase 1 of the project spans approximately 7 kilometers from Norwich to Turtle Crawl, and the works will include a 4-lane carriageway, new bridges, jersey barriers, fiber optic ducts, road markings, and modern bus shelters. As was announced earlier, it will be executed by China Harbour Engineering Company. In April of this year, we would have approved at Cabinet a variation on the existing ship contract with an allocation of $81 million US for construction and 521 million Jamaican dollars for the acquisition of land in the direct vicinity of the road. I want to say to the residents here this afternoon, you have heard some big numbers, big money spending, but the money in and of itself is meaningless unless the money brings a positive impact to the people who use the road, who benefit from the road, and who are impacted by the road. This road is going to improve your parish, it's going to improve your constituency, and it's going to improve Port Antonio. It will protect your coastline from damage due to environmental factors. It will create new spaces for economic activities, new shops, new businesses, new areas of your parish that can be developed for housing. Space so well that we do have resources to build infrastructure. But behind the money that we're spending is the impact, the positive impact on you, the residents, and the people of Jamaica. Yes. So I want to say thank you very much for coming out. I want to say this is an amazing occasion, an historic occasion, and I'm very happy to be here to experience it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
And so at this time, please give a round of applause for the Port Antonio Theatre Group as they come to deliver an item.
Transportation in Jamaica, you see, is a terrible thing. The schoolers like we not have no car, but we have to travel first to go to school or the church or every day that hurt. It make me feel mad, me can't feel glad. Me stand up at the roadside from 6 to 8, and every day me reach I feel me school late. From the empty taxi come and say they full up, and me fi go in a trunk go full up. It make me feel mad, me can't feel glad. Schoolers in Jamaica a suffer for true. We want somebody tell we what fi do. What about you? But me not go in a trunk, me no dirty bungle. Them a go on like we live in a jungle. They no business but we clothes are the smell of liquor nose. As cool as we are suffer for true. Uncle God know what we are gonna do. When holiday come we say, thank you Lord for we know we can stay our yard. At that time taxi men know we worth. over without with money, them pocket catch dirt. It make me feel glad, glad not mad. Schoolers in Jamaica I suffer for true. We want somebody tell we what we do. What about you? What about you? What about you?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I gather that that piece was written before the yellow bus come, right? So I'm sure that they will tweak it a bit to say that the yellow bus come. Right, good, good. Minister Vaz heard their cry before he even heard that poem, right? Good. So clap for the yellow bus. No more taxi back. Alright. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman needs little to no introduction. True? No introduction at all. Because you see him all across the place. So at this time, please welcome Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness.
Thank you very much, Dane, for your mastery of the ceremonies. We are gathered here to celebrate, to mark a major achievement. This is a civic function. This is a function for the entire Jamaica, and particularly for the people of Portland, because I preside over a government as Prime Minister, but I administer the government on behalf of all the people of Jamaica. Whether you voted for me or not, whether you're a part of my political organization or not, every Jamaican is served by the government I administer, served fairly, equally, and we are broadcasting today for those Jamaicans who may not be under this tent, but who are equally interested in the infrastructure development of their country. This is for them as well, including those who may not want this government to do it, may want another government to do it, but that's fine. We are the ones doing it now, but it's still for your benefit. So I acknowledge all Jamaicans who are in this room, in this tent, under this tent with us. I like to say my government is a big tent. It finds space for everyone. Everyone is accommodated. Everyone is embraced. Everyone can feel that they have a place and a space. But I also want to acknowledge those persons who are watching us via the internet, being live streamed. So I make a special point of bigging up the people on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, where we are streaming live, and in particular the people on YouTube. And I have to do that because this has become now a standard community which we have to speak to. When I speak to audiences, such as an audience like this, you can have a sense as to what is the mood and what the audience already believes. But in the broadcast world, whether it is in your home, in your couch on television, or you're wherever watching TikTok live or watching some video or some reel or something, it's very difficult to gauge what the prevailing view is. And sometimes false information can be brought to you. And for many Jamaicans, seeing is believing. And you don't get a chance to say, but how would this really go? Because you believe what is placed in front of you. And you're in your quiet space. There's nobody beside you who may pinch you and say, foolishness, not no go so. Here is the truth. And you form an impression. The challenge is that it's one thing for a random video or reel to get to you on your phone and you look at it and you believe it or not. But the way in which the information world works now is depending on your pre-existing bias. You may say, you know what, I believe this. But you go one step further, you click I like it. And you go one step further, you share it. There is something that is operating in your phone that you don't even know. It's called an algorithm. And when you express a view, positive or negative, to the content that you have just consumed, what that algorithm does is say, I know what you now like, so I'm going to keep sending the things that you like. And so what it does to society as a whole, it removes editorial control, which can be good, can be bad, but it keeps balance in the society if the editorialization is proper. It removes that, and what can happen is that persons who are not quite able to filter information or don't have broad knowledge to distinguish what is fact and what is fiction will end up getting caught in either a loop of fiction and end up with all kinds of perverse views of the society, believing lies and half-truths. Or you could have a really good edifying experience where you're constantly fed factual information. But what happens is more the latter than the former. That a lot of people get caught in extreme positions, believing fake news and developing perverse views. And many societies, not just Jamaica, wrestle with this. You will see this presentation that I'm making now being made by all kinds of other countries who are concerned about how their society is being shaped by algorithms, shaped by a calculation that has nothing to do with the actual situation of the country and something that is open to be manipulated. It is a great danger for us, and in particular in the time of an election where the competition for your mind is even more intense, that someone could spin a lie and impact the outcome of an election. And this has been shown and proven in many countries, not just Jamaica. So I do take the time whenever I'm presenting, not just to speak to the people in front of me, that I can gauge your response, and I'm in that feedback loop, so I can make various comments and help to modify and change and moderate, but particularly to those who are trapped in front of their screens, who have nobody else to help to moderate how they are going to view. We have to bring them into the conversation and to empower you to be candles of information and lights of knowledge in your community and in your various spaces. So that's just a preliminary preface to my presentation. So having said that, I know that the Honorable Robert Nestor Morgan, the Honorable Darrell Vaz, and Mrs. Vaz, they are under instructions that whatever they say to the public must be factual. They are under instructions that whatever they say to the public must be positive. You will not hear from the platform of the government anything that is negative, anything that is fake, anything that is not of the highest integrity of information. So we have committed to being the voice of positivity. We are committed to be constructive in whatever we say. We are not going to rely on negativity, of tearing down people and focusing on the gutter. We are going to raise your heads, raise your minds, and we are looking upward. Let me also acknowledge our permanent secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, and the head of the National Works Agency, Mr. E.G. Hunter, a long-standing master civil servant. He knows what I mean when I say that. You know, there is a famous British comedy called Yes Minister. I don't know if any of you ever watched that, but somehow, you know, E.G. reminds me of the main character in that. Of course, allow me to also acknowledge His Worship, the Mayor, Bishop Councillor Paul Thompson, who preached for us. Certainly he will not overtake you, overseer, but and of course I must acknowledge China Harbour, that has been with us now more than 15 years almost, as a construction partner, very much entrenched in the Jamaican construction landscape, taking on massive projects. And since I'm on the subject of massive construction projects, it is important that Jamaica develops its own capabilities in this regard, and China Harbour is very much aware of this, and increasingly they are using training and facilitating the development of local talent. And on this project we look forward to that. In the Montego Bay Bypass project, when I toured it last, I was very pleased to see a significant number, in fact I would say more than 90% of the workforce being Jamaican, from the steelman to the engineer. I think that was a very good sign. So allow me also to acknowledge other stakeholders from the community, our police, members of the church, and other members of civil society who are here. Now, today marks the breaking of barriers that have long held back the full economic potential of this beautiful parish and people. And it represents the dawning of a new era of mobility, opportunity, and resilience for Portland. From the early days of our administration, we made a clear commitment to modernize Jamaica's infrastructure and ensure that no parish, no town, no community is left behind. The Port Antonio Bypass project is the latest expression of that commitment. It represents an investment in Portland's growth, in tourism potential, in its ability to attract capital, create jobs, and build wealth for its citizens. Pay attention to those words. There are some people who love the poor and want to keep them poor. We love the poor too, but we hate poverty, and we want the poor to become wealthy. We are not ashamed of wealth and prosperity. We believe every Jamaican can achieve wealth and prosperity. And we're not ashamed of that. And that's why we do everything in our power to cut all the dimensions of poverty. And I know when you hear the word wealth, you immediately think money. Money is one dimension of wealth. Health is a dimension of wealth. You could have all the money in the world. You will spend it when you find out you're not healthy. You'll give it away to get your help. So when we say we want our Jamaicans to be wealthy, what we are really saying is we want them to be healthy. Yes, that's just one dimension of wealth. Mobility is another dimension of wealth. You know how many Jamaicans live in Portland and never visit Hanover? Never going to Kingston. One thing them say, boy, the road too bad. And then they will say, boy, me can't manage the crime. But can you imagine how much wider and better your life would be if you were able to move about, to travel? Travel to go to work, you get better work opportunities. And therefore, the building of the roads and the bypasses, that helps to create another dimension of wealth in Jamaicans' life. Purposeful employment, that's another form of wealth. You know, a lot of people believe that you only work for money, but a lot of people work for fulfillment. Do something with your life that means something. So never confuse when we talk about prosperity that all we are talking about is money. No, we want the entire human being to develop and to be able to fulfill themselves and to ultimately pursue their happiness. How does a highway do that? I mentioned one, mobility. But you also want to be safe. Not just safe from criminals and crime, but you also want to be safe from the impacts of climate and weather. Portland is a town, Portland is a parish, Port Antonio, the main town, that is on the seaside. It's a coastal, low-lying area, and it is oftentimes impacted by weather events. How many weather events have impacted your wealth? Destroyed your home, destroyed the road? Quite a bit. And so what we are doing now is to move your road inland. Protecting your mobility, protecting your other assets, land and businesses, and that will ensure resilience. That should there be a weather event that hits Portland, a part of your wealth and prosperity will be preserved. Yes. So this project is not just about Portland, it's not just about infrastructure. This bypass is a strategic initiative with national importance. For decades, Port Antonio has been one of Jamaica's hidden gems, blessed with natural beauty and rich cultural heritage, but held back by limited access and inadequate infrastructure. The current route through the town centre, while scenic, adds to the traffic congestion in the town. As I said, it is vulnerable to flooding and coastal erosion, and it cannot accommodate the scale of development we envision for this area. The Port Antonio bypass will solve this. The new 18-kilometer corridor, divided into two phases, will divert through traffic from the fragile, congested coastal town centre, cutting travel time, reducing transport costs, and unlocking vast development potential inland. In so doing, it will unlock new commercial zones, stimulate land development, and create room for expansion. But listen to this part. while maintaining Port Antonio as a quiet coastal retreat, but with a thriving economic hub. So the idea is not to change the nature of Port Antonio. What is happening now is that the nature of Port Antonio is being changed because of the volume of congestion in the town. And so what we want to do is to move the traffic that doesn't need to be in the town out of the town. And that town, which should really be, rich in its culture and history, is becoming very commercialized, and so it's losing that value. So in creating a bypass, we will eventually attract most of the commercial operations out of that valuable cultural and historic space and leave that to develop in the way it should be developed, while having the commercial area specifically focused. And we have started that by building, and that started a couple of months ago, the Boundbrook Commercial Center. So this is not just a one-off investment. This is part of a larger plan to develop the economy of Portland in a way that preserves its historic and cultural assets. So this is a targeted people-centered development that will expand opportunities for local farmers, craft vendors, tour operators, and small businesses. This is development that will connect the coast to the countryside, the farms to resorts, and the world to Portland. The Port Antonio bypass is being executed in 2 phases. Today, we are launching phase 1 from Norwich to Turtle Crawl Harbour, a 7-kilometer stretch of a 4-lane roadway with safety-enhancing median barriers, newly constructed bridges, upgraded drain infrastructure, and designated bus shelters. We are reshaping the infrastructure landscape to meet the future. The government of Jamaica has committed approximately $81 million for the construction of this project, and another $521 million for land acquisition, with over 200 parcels to be acquired in phase 1 alone. The National Land Agency has already begun the acquisition process, ensuring that every affected landowner is treated with fairness and dignity under the provisions of the Land Acquisition Act. This is a massive undertaking by any measure, and I want to recognize the work of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, the National Work Agency, the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, and of course our project contractor, China Harbour Engineering Limited, for bringing us to this point. Now, let us also understand that this project is not occurring in isolation. The Port Antonio bypass is a continuation of the transformative Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project, which spans from Harborview in Kingston all the way to St. Thomas and now into Portland. The Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project is not only the largest infrastructure investment in Jamaica's history, it is the most ambitious reshaping of Jamaica's spatial economy since independence. By extending the S-chip into Portland, we are literally and figuratively placing Portland on the map of the 21st century development. We are ensuring that Portland is not at the end of the road, but Portland is the road to prosperity. So with this project, we are laying the foundation for something bigger than a bypass. I want all of you to pay attention to this, because this is what is going to come as soon as the bypass is finished. Through the Port Authority of Jamaica, we engaged world-renowned architect Gordon Gill, who is actually Jamaican, to develop a master plan for Port Antonio. The vision of Port Antonio is to create a high-value, low-density tourism destination that will preserve the unique history and character of Port Antonio as the birthplace of Caribbean tourism. Port Antonio will become the St. Bart's of the Northern Caribbean. I know a lot of people don't know what that is. But the idea is to create a high-value tourism product, which is quite distinct from the other tourism areas that exist in Jamaica. The strategy of the government, for all of you who are listening, you will hear me talk about the national economy and how the national economy is doing well. Now, people in their parish, in their towns might say, well, how does the national economy benefit my household economy? When I tell you that the debt, national debt is cut in half, you still have your loan to pay at the bank. You still have your hire purchase bill to pay. When I tell you that unemployment is cut in half, well, more than that, unemployment moved from 13.8% down to 3.5%. You might still see some unemployed youngsters in your community. When I tell you that, you know, we have run the country so well that we have not asked you for any new taxes, and you're saying, but I'm still paying tax. So you might not reconcile what has happened in the economy, which is what is allowing me to stand here today to announce an $80 million project for this area, because that couldn't happen before. That's why it never happened before. Because previous governments didn't run the economy well, they never had the money to do it. We ran the economy well, so we are using the dividends. So a part of our strategy is to create a local economy, where your household is more tied into that local economy. And what is that local economy? That local economy would be the industries that are located close to you. Right now, most of you, some of you have to go to town to work. If you want health care, you have to go to town. If you want some government service, you have to go to town. So what we want to do is to create a local economy that employs you where you live, provides the services where you live. More of your taxes get spent because it's generated there, and you are vested in it. So you don't have to wait on, let's say, the national budget to deal with some of your local water. Your economy generates the revenues. And that's the strategy. So we are doing that in St. Thomas. We have built a nucleus, meaning a core area in which commerce can take place. And then from that, there are some other concentric areas that will connect to that. And so St. Thomas is going to have literally its own economy. It will have an industry in mining. It will have its urban center, and we are developing its tourism potential. And all of that will be underpinned by greater agriculture and fishing. For Portland, you are going to have similar high-value tourism product with a strong commercial urban center, agriculture and fishing, right? You will also have what I like to call cultural and history tourism as a value here as well. So you're going to have another strong economy. We're going to do the same thing for St. Mary. Ocho Rios already has an economy, and you can see Ocho Rios just rapidly expanding the number of houses because they have an economy there. Trelawney, we're going to focus there as well. We have 50 acres of land that we're going to be building a new town center there, helping the old town to be able to regulate itself, take the congestion out of the old town, so that that can realize its true potential as well. St. James has a booming economy. And then we're going to go into Hanover, which we have started to map that out. We're going to put in a bypass and realign some roads there. We're going to do the same thing for Westmoreland. Every parish will have its local economy. So I want the people of Portland to understand what that local economy is going to look like. So the vision for Port Antonio is to create a high value, low density tourism destination, as I had said before, and to make this place the leading destination in the Caribbean.
That's right.
The key components of this master plan include a cruise ship terminal along the eastern belt of the East Harbour.
Ring the bell.
Other people have tried it, you know, they've put in a little thing and it never worked, and it sit down how long, and because they don't have vision. They don't have vision. They just put a little thing there and believe that's how development comes. They put a little marina and 1 and 2 boats come there, but to do this thing you have to think big. You have to be able to invest, and you have to be able to attract people to come in. And so you notice we are very strategic. We are doing the things that are going to attract people to come in. So we're going to do the cruise ship terminal along the eastern belt of the East Harbour. We're going to do some high-end hotels and villas on the folly lands. Enhancement of the lands currently used as a cricket field. We're going to create a multi-purpose sport and entertainment amphitheater there, so you can play cricket and football and you have entertainment. It's going to be a really wonderful place for the community. A new pedestrian promenade along the shoreline that connects the east and west harbors, so you'll be able to walk along the coast, the seafront.
Yes.
And ride along if you choose. And sit along. And I know some people do some fishing there sometimes. And cast a fishing line if you want. It will be a lovely place for pedestrian movement to properly enjoy your time. The development of the Port Antonio Marina. So we're going to further develop the Port Antonio Marina. There will be a new public park along the waterfront, similar to the Harmony Beach Park in Montego Bay. So Port Antonio will have its own beach park. Lovely, it will be lovely. By the way, the design work has already begun. We have already started the design work on this. We will redevelop the Musgrave Market into the crown jewel in the Port Antonio waterfront experience. We're going to change what you consider a market into what a real market should be. Clean, spacious, orderly, where everybody can come, shop, eat, dine, you know, make it into an experience. And then of course, which we have already started, the Boundbrook Urban Center, which will be similar to the Morant Bay Urban Center, has 148,000 square feet of purpose-built commercial space, and that will have a government center in it, and the municipal corporation will be housed there. Over 3,000 Jamaicans are expected to be employed by entities within this development. Importantly, Navia Island will be preserved as a nature ecotourism reserve as part of the ecological heritage of Portland and Jamaica. So I want you to imagine a Port Antonio that is welcoming boutique cruise ships without traffic congestion, a Boston Bay that draws in global food connoisseurs and local entrepreneurs alike, a parish where eco-lodges, meaning community tourism and adventure tourism, flourishes alongside local farming and craft.
That's right.
This bypass allows us to begin reimagining the Port Antonio Center by diverting through traffic. We will create the space for a safer, more walkable, more livable town core. The urban renewal that will follow can finally reflect the charm, potential, and historical richness of the Port Antonio that we all wish for.
That's right.
Now, somebody might be in the audience saying, why, Prime Minister, this all so nice. Going to take only for years. But me not have no water. In other words, the high-level vision that sounds so good is always tempered by the immediate need. What is it that we need now? And there are those who will say, no bother with this, give me the water now. And governments face this challenge, how to invest. Because we're seeing a little shower now. And indeed, water comes from the sky. But water is not free. Water requires investment. Pipes and pumps don't fall from the sky. So you have to invest in it. So the question is, how do you structure your investment? You have to make investments that are going to deliver future revenues to support current consumption. Put it to you this way. There are some people who would prefer to eat off everything today and have nothing tomorrow. Investment is like agriculture. You have to plant today in order to reap tomorrow. But you also have to make sure that you have a little bit to eat while the crop is growing, right? So for those people who would wish to dismiss these kinds of investment, let me point out that we are dealing with immediate needs as well. We are spending, for example, on a local lift station, $22 million to put in a lift station, which is basically a pumping station that will bring the water up to a level, put it in a storage tank so it can be gravity fed, and that will supply the craft market and Carter Park. So we're dealing with the water situation, but that's just a small one. We're going to spend, and the project is already underway, $3 billion from Upper Fellowship, going through all of Port Antonio, going up to Snow Hill, to replace and rehabilitate pumps, pipes, and a new plant for water at the grants level. Right? That's a massive investment, $3 billion for water. So I want you to appreciate that the government is balancing the immediate needs with the long-term needs that will generate the revenues to deal with even more immediate needs. So we're doing this project, which will create an economy, which will give us the revenues to spend on even greater social projects for you. But we're not leaving you to die of thirst while the road is there. No, we get that, we understand that. And so we're doing both things at the same time. Both things at the same time. So, good roads and proper water supply don't fall from the sky. You need good government running a good economy to be able to deliver these benefits. And I want to point out to you that in our sister country Guyana, and I made this point earlier today, Guyana is doing similar developments to Jamaica. If you ever have the chance to go to Guyana, daily Guyana is changing, building massive highways and bridges and new buildings in Georgetown, their capital. The place is really transforming. And you know why that is happening? They have discovered oil. We weren't doing this, what we're doing here, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. Why? But we are doing it now. Did we discover oil?
No.
In the future.
No.
What is the difference? What has changed? What did we discover in Jamaica? We discovered good government. Good government can deliver value as much as oil can. There are many countries that are rich in natural resources, but they have problems because of government. Government matters. Who administers your affairs matters. I get it. There are many Jamaicans who support governments like how they support football teams. Desmond McKenzie is a big supporter of Manchester United. I am a Liverpool fan. And I know when Liverpool won the Premiership, and I put up my Liverpool shirt, a lot of people were upset with me. That's how it is. But the consequences of supporting the wrong football team is neither here nor there. The consequence of supporting the wrong government. So I make the clear point to everyone listening that government matters. And there is a deliberate attempt by some to say that government doesn't matter, but yet they are saying, hey, let me be government. There are some who are saying the reduction in crime is not as a result of the government, but they are saying, hey, let me be government and I will even reduce the crime more. Which is it? So I say to the Jamaicans who are watching, who are listening, I urge you to think about the choice that you have. Elections are not about football teams. Don't believe that all of this is going to continue when you change government. Don't believe that all of this continues, because somehow, a different government will do the same thing we are doing. So I'm a realist. I know I've done a lot of work. There is no one can say that I don't work hard. There are some people who will say they are working, but I am the real one who have done the work. And you can see the work almost every day. But there are those who are irrational. There are those who don't vote on reason. There are those who are merely supporting a football team. And you saw it. They gathered at Heroes Park and asked, why are you here? I am here supporting the football team. Whatever I do. But if you let those people determine your future, you cannot allow those people to determine your future. So I urge you, as I close my presentation to you, as I have shown you the work that we have done, as I have shown you what is to come and for which you can have faith. Not empty faith, but real faith.
continue to clean up the jam there.
Yeah. Because you know what faith is. Right? So it is the substance of the things that you have hoped for. The substance. So when you see this highway, when you see all of what we have said, it gives you the substance. But we also give you the evidence of it. When we show you the Morant Bay Urban Center, when we show you the South Coast Highway Improvement Project, when we show you what we have done with the economy, you know you can have faith in this government. That when we tell you something, is that an empty promise. We're not selling horses that can fly. So, my friends gathered, and those on social media, and those watching on broadcasts and newscasts, I urge you to think carefully on the choice before you in our democracy. To look at the work that has been done and the commitment made for future work and development. We believe that we are the best choice for the people of Jamaica. We have worked hard. We have done what you have required. I urge you, choose Jamaica.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. You know, we moved to Portland. But I think I will stay in my Paris St. Thomas and enjoy my urban center. Alright. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to invite, he's already on his feet. I'm going to invite the Honorable Brian Vance to move the vehicle.
Ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I'm here to give the vote of thanks. And I requested that because I wanted to give the vote of thanks while the Prime Minister is in the parish of Portland. And I want to say unequivocally that no Prime Minister and no government has done even 10% of what has happened in Portland from I became Member of Parliament in 2007 and Anne-Marie Vance became Member of Parliament in 2019. I would go further to say that it is too many millions to count. My calculator can't go so far because it is hundreds and hundreds of millions of United States dollars, not Jamaican dollars. From road to water to Boundbrook Center to the NHT project that is going to happen at Pasley Gardens, to the water project that the Prime Minister just announced, to the entire development of the waterfront in Port Antonio, the bypass of Port Antonio to allow for people who are not doing business in Port Antonio to go. It is just too much. And I want to say on behalf, Prime Minister, of Member of Parliament Anne-Marie Vance and myself and every well-thinking Portlander, a hearty thank you for your vision, but not only your vision, putting the plans in place and the funding in place to effect the transformation that we have seen in Portland. And it's not because I am the Member of Parliament. I can only do as much as I can do, which is to lobby and to try and get my piece of the share and my piece of the pie for Portland, while all the other parishes and Member of Parliaments are doing the same thing. We will not let you down because we appreciate it. We appreciate everything that you have done and every discussion that you have led. And let me state it clearly that some of the things that you see that are being implemented come from his vision his thought process in relation to what he wants to see Portland become, because it is no secret that Portland is the Prime Minister's favorite parish outside. And he has said it, so I'm not saying anything. He has spent a lot of time here in his youth, and he just loves the people, he loves the vibe, and he loves the place. So I could never let today pass, because I know we are going into a certain season now where everything is going to get all over the place, pure misinformation and bad mind and all that goes with it. So I wanted, in a very sober setting, Prime Minister, to tell you that we do not take it for granted, and we appreciate everything, because it's not only about the vision, it is a connecting of the dots to make sure that that vision is implemented. And I stand here proud to be a part of that team that is transforming Portland from a forgotten parish to the most popular and the most infrastructure that has taken place in Portland between 2016 and now. I close by saying, Prime Minister, we will not let you down. Don't watch the noise, watch the sail. And I stand here to tell you that you have bigger things to go and look about. When you are starting on that journey, whenever you decide to, you don't need to come back to Portland. You have done everything before election. We don't need you. Go and look for the ones that need some more help. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You are the best Prime Minister that this country has ever seen. And what is more, and I want to leave you with this, because I'm a subject of it too. Who God bless. No man curse. And more importantly, Jamaican people don't stone flux your mango. That is an East Indian, a Bombay, and a Julie put together. He is the best. Pray for him, because you know that when it comes to him and me, them after we every day, can't do nothing right. But God don't sleep him when he put on in pajamas. God is watching over you, sir. And we will be victorious. God bless you.
And let me say it, repeat it. Representation matters. Your government matters. Choose Jamaica. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Minister Vice and MP Vice. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're at that point where we actually get to break the ground. Are you excited? Yes! Thank you so very much for being with us today. To those who are online, thank you also for joining us. I do believe that you'll be able to see what's happening over by the groundbreaking. So until next time, my name is Danny Clark, and it was a pleasure serving you today.
Ready? Everybody look up. Alright. Gonna turn to the right. After 3. Run it. No, come on, Mr. Man. Come on. Alright. Everybody have a little dirt in there. Alright. Everybody look at the camera. And then pretend to smile. And me the biggest joke. Alright. And then we're gonna turn after 3. 1, 2, 3, turn.
Give me the funny one.
One more time.
Ready?
To the right.
To the right. Turn. Hold on. Alright, after 3, turn.
Okay, so I'm speaking with a resident from Montreal, and although you don't in this side of the parish, but the bypass, is it a good look?
Yeah, man.
And you feel it will benefit a lot of vehicles and transportation going back and forth?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. How long you been in a resident of Portland?
71 years now.
71 years. Have you ever seen anything or hear of anything similar to this before?
No.
Okay. So you welcome it?
Yeah, man.
All right. More blessings today. All right. Some of you as a subscriber, the curtain come down and the bypass, the Port Antonio bypass. I hope you guys enjoy the video and thing. And Bigsuper is on the ground once again in Portland, just to make you see the groundbreaking ceremony.